A city on its knees. An explosion bringing death and destruction to a country that was already grappling with serious economic and political challenges in the midst of a pandemic.
This time of both sorrow and prolonged frustration, the anger of the Lebanese people is palpable. Their voices must be heard. It is important that a credible and transparent investigation determine the cause of the explosion and bring about the accountability demanded by the Lebanese people. It is also important that reforms be implemented so as to address the needs of the Lebanese people for the longer term.
The United Nations says its response is being pegged on three phases. First, dealing with the emergency needs on the ground. Secondly, recovery and reconstruction, which will require billions of dollars in a mix of both public and private financing. And thirdly, addressing the underlying socio-economic needs in the country that were already being exacerbated by the COVID-19 pandemic. A desperate situation by any measure.
85% of the food in this country is imported. 85% of the grain, the wheat, comes through the Beirut port. That's gone. And so what we've got to do, and this is why it was so exciting to be on the ground to see the reality so that we can determine how we can get, at least on a temporary basis, part of the port operational for bringing in wheat, for bringing in the grains. And in fact, we've already diverted a ship. We will have 17.5 thousand metric tons of wheat flour here within 2 weeks, and that's going to put bread on the tables of all the people in Lebanon, and that'll give us a bread supply for 20 days.
A donor conference hosted by French President Emmanuel Macron pledged almost $300 million in emergency aid at the weekend, while the UN has released at least $15 million in emergency funding to address immediate needs.
We're working shoulder to shoulder to assess the damage done to schools, water systems, and infrastructure across Beirut. We're supporting survivors with urgent health, water, protection services, counseling, and other support. We've managed to rescue about 90% of the vaccines stored in the damaged port warehouse. And we're working to scale up emergency cash assistance to families in urgent need of housing and other essentials.
As the sheer weight of the crisis begins to hit home to the broader international community.
All of this came during a severe financial crisis that saw people lose their life savings and security, and a 70% devaluation of the Lebanese pound. The pandemic added to the misery of people and compounded their sense of loss and insecurity. Their challenge was a matter of life, of economic hardship, or death by a cruel virus. Then came the explosion. It shattered Beirut, and with it, what was left of the social and financial security. People are desperate now, angry and afraid. They are demanding and deserve justice, and rightly so.
The government admitting that the disaster happened as a result of chronic corruption in politics, administration, and the state. A lesson surely to others of what a worst-case scenario looks like. Shervin Brycebees, SABC News, New York.